if I was 30 and I was starting over, these are the steps I would take to improve my life again. So when I was 35, I had just gotten told by my wife at the time that she wanted a divorce. We were married for 12 years, and she was really the only girl that ever showed me interest or really wanted anything to do with me. So it was devastating. I didn't know what I was going to do. You know, she's out of my life now. At the time, I was, 250 pounds. I was addicted to video games. I didn't know how to socialize with anybody. I never had to socialize. We were just together for the last 12 years. It was me and her, so I didn't really have to do anything. So when I was at that age, I felt like I was absolutely starting over. I didn't know how to talk to girls. I figured if I did ever find a girl that liked me, it would have been the same situation where I'm just settling because I'm happy to have found somebody to spend time with. So if you're in that situation, or if you've never had a girlfriend, I have quite a few friends who didn't ever date up until their 30s. They just never felt they were worthy of getting dates or girls liking them. Or if you just got out of a relationship. These are the steps I would take if I were going to do it again to help me, get over that and to live the life that I want. So the first thing I did and would do again is just make the decision that you're going to do whatever it takes to change. If you're not happy with where you are, that doesn't mean you have to stay where you are. You can always become a better version of yourself. For me, it was difficult. I always thought you were the way you were. If you're quiet, you're quiet. If you're kind of a loser, you're kind of a loser. If you're lazy, you're lazy. If you're, not adventurous, you're not adventurous. But having read Tony Robbins, listening to Zig Ziglar, they taught me how to set goals and become a better version of myself. So you kind of see what's possible. So if you're struggling with that, just know that you can become a better version of yourself. Ask yourself, if I was going to take the right actions every day for the next, say, just a year, what kind of man would I become? Focus on what kind of man you do want to become. Do you want to be attractive for women? Do you want to be super successful in your job? You have to just make that decision of what you want and then start taking small actions towards that. So the first thing I would do and did do was that I made the decision that I was going to do, in my case, I was going to do whatever it took to be attracted to women. I cared much more about that. As a kid, I didn't have girlfriends. I was very shy, quiet. If a girl did like me, I assumed she was just joking or it was a trick on me. So my goal was to get attractive to women. I started watching videos on how to talk to girls, where to meet them at the bars, how to dress more stylish so that I look more attractive. And then I decided if I wanted to meet these kind of girls, I was going to have to move towns. I was in a small town of Wisconsin, maybe 30,000 people. And the people there that were semi-attractive were already in relationships. And I wasn't going to be able to get the practice I needed to socialize. I had to learn how to socialize. While I was in Wisconsin, I just started small though. I would just compliment people on what they were wearing, just a walk-by compliment, hey, you look nice. And then I would start asking people if I could join their trivia team. And, just taking small steps, flirting a little bit with the bartender based off stuff I learned. First step, just make the decision of what you want and then that you're going to make the changes to get there. Next thing I did, and would still recommend doing for anybody, start listening to positive inputs. Everywhere around the world is very negative energy, a lot of negative inputs coming in. People telling you what you should be, what you should do, what you should watch, what's the right answers to everything. I was always seeking validation from others. If someone told me that it was cool to dress this with a pink shirt on or polka dots, I would do that to try to fit in. I can remember specifically being in elementary school, middle school. I remember at these ages I was worried about this. I had to have Nike shoes, or otherwise that's the reason I wasn't cool. But then I get the Nike shoes and I'm still not cool. I'm still not popular because I didn't know how to socialize, and I was always so worried about what people thought of me that I wouldn't speak my mind or I wouldn't say anything. I was just the quiet kid. And I mean, it's fine to be quiet, but if people don't want to be around a guy who's not going to socialize with them, and I get that now. So I started to listen to positive inputs, try to get that negativity out of my brain. I don't need to focus on how I'm the quiet kid. I'm still kind of quiet. I'm not the guy who's going to go around being super energetic everywhere, just being the center of attention. But I don't need to be that way. That's not who I am. I used to think it was a bad thing that I was more calm and present and maybe not so high energy. But over the years, I've gotten a lot of feedback from people saying it's very reassuring how calm I am, how thoughtful I am in what I'm going to say, and they like my relaxing energy. So that's a lot of, just with these positive inputs, I guess the whole point of that is the positive inputs kind of make it so that you realize you're thinking about things that are enjoyable to you. You learn to set goals. You learn about, for me, I was listening to books on Audible about not being the nice guy, how to talk to girls, how to be a better man. So like The Way of the Superior Man, The Rational Male, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and then positive inputs from Zig Ziglar and Tony Robbins, teaching you how to change your state if you're not feeling your best self, or how to set goals. All that stuff adds up. And eventually you just start kind of talking about it in your daily conversations with people. It makes you well-rounded. It gives you something to think about on if you are living up to your potential. David Goggins is another great example of that. He says most people are only given about 40% of their true potential. If you've never listened to his book, I highly recommend it. It's amazing what he's accomplished. And it just kind of makes you realize, if you really think about it, have you been giving even 80% of your full potential? I know for the most part I haven't. I know there's still ways to improve. So that's what I'm still looking for. I'm still looking for ways to constantly improve. I'm 41 now, so I'm not in my 30s, but I feel like where I was, taking these steps now has really made me a more well-rounded person and makes me more attractive to the women that I want to be dating. So that's the second thing I do, is just listen to positive inputs. Audible is great. You can do that while you're walking. You can do that while you're showering. You can do that while you're at the gym. Doesn't matter. You'll learn a lot, and it's just very easy to do. Third thing I would do, I guess specifically if you're wanting to improve your life with women, but even in general, everything involves communication. It's another thing Jim Rohn says to work on daily, is communication. Everything involves communication. You can always be more charismatic. You can always be a little bit friendlier. You can always make new and better friends. So go out and practice socializing. Go out and give compliments to people. Give value to people. I know for me, I always wanted validation. So I was always trying to take from people. I wanted them to give me validation. I wanted them to tell me that something nice about me, or that they were appreciating me being there, rather than being the guy that would just give value, saying, hey, I really like that you're so friendly. I like your tennis shoes. I started out, as I mentioned, I was very much couldn't socialize, keep to myself. So I started out small. I would just go around the office and say hi to a couple people every day. Marcus Oki taught me that, you want to have try to have 3 conversations as soon as you can during the day. So I would go through the office, say hi to some people, and then try to give some value. Hey, that's great that you did this over the weekend. Hey, that's awesome that you learned this thing. Whatever. Just kind of give some compliments and just improve your social skills. Something I'm still working on. I tried to where I talk to at least one person every day just to give them a compliment and try to brighten their day a little bit. That's helped me with, meeting new women, which, as I said, was my main focus, especially after my divorce. But the reason I think it was the main focus is because of the man it made me become. I wasn't going to be able to get the girls I wanted if I stayed the same. Girls don't want a man who's weak and overweight. It's not even the overweight, it's the weakness. I wasn't trying. I had no purpose. I was not being my best version of myself. And I didn't know who I was. So that's not attractive qualities. So going out and socializing made me more comfortable in my skin, made me meet a bunch of different people that I have lifelong friendships with now, who have the same goals that I do. So we're on the right path. 4th thing I would do, for me, my goal was to meet women, I would have got on online dating sooner and I would have figured that shit out. I've met great people on online dating so far. Who knows who I would have met in the past if I had figured that out. It's not very difficult. You get some pictures with an iPhone with a friend who knows what he's doing. And the great thing about the online dating is you get out and practice going on dates. Girls want to meet high-value guys that are fun to be around, easy to socialize with. And if you're not going on dates and getting comfortable around women, or if you're not going on dates to find the kind of women that you want and that you resonate with, it's going to be hard to find the right girls to fit your life. If you've never had any experience with women, this is another great way of starting to get that experience. You don't have to rely on going to the bars and talking to people. You can get your practice on dates and learn more about girls and their stories, and it'll give you more interesting stories to tell while you're on dates. When I was overweight and I didn't feel like I could get, I also didn't know what I was going to do with online dating. I didn't have any good pictures. I didn't have any friends to take my pictures. And they were just excuses. I could have figured it out. It's not hard to just have someone take your picture for you or hire a photographer and tell them the kind of photos you want. But, I wasted many years. I don't want to say wasted, but I could have definitely have gotten some more socializing practice. Maybe I would have met somebody different who would have taught me something in my life. It's just a good way to get that dating practice. So if you just got out of a divorce or your relationship or you've never been on dates, figure out online dating. It'll help you get over your ex faster. I know it's great to want to think that maybe she'll come back or maybe it'll work out. And if that's what you really want, that's what you should go for. But if that's not going to work out and you're ready to move on, online dating is a great way to get practice messaging, conversing, going on dates. So I would definitely recommend that as well. And then the 5th thing, the 5th thing I would do is travel. Travel it's going to just make you a better person overall. If you've never traveled, you definitely got to get out and get out of your comfort zone. That's what it's going to do. It's going to push you to be more adventurous. It's going to push you to meet new cultures. You're going to meet, I know, like I said, I keep saying this, but for me, I wanted to meet women. So it got me to meet different types of women. I can figure out the kind of girls that I want to be around. I make friends every time I travel now. It gives you interesting stories to tell on your dates. Girls don't want a guy that just sits around and watches TV or watches football every weekend and has no adventure and desire to travel or to do different things. You know, life gets monotonous if you're just working and then you just spend your weekends doing nothing. So traveling gives you interesting stories to tell. Just things you'll never forget either. I remember going to Colombia, and the very first day we ended up on the wrong street, and there was it ended up being Hooker Alley. Just crazy stuff happens. I could get into it, but I won't. Or times in Mexico that, you know, you end up in jail, and it's something you never forget, and it's an interesting story to tell while you're on a date. So these are the things I did and would definitely redo again if I was in my 30s and just starting over. It's something that anybody can do. It's not like you have to be a millionaire to travel somewhere. You don't have to be a millionaire to try to become a better version of yourself. I mean, it's just stuff you work on over time, small steps every day. Not to say that I haven't backtracked. You know, I've gotten in great shape and then I get lazy and I start eating bad foods again. Or, you know, for a little bit I would get back to video games and get distracted. So it's just a thing that you constantly learn, but if you start taking those small steps now, and just something you continue to do over your life, I guess you raise yourself to a new level so that when you go back down, so you do get addicted to video games for a little bit, you realize where you were and it motivates you to get back to that level. So those are the 5 things I would do. Let me know what your guys' situation is now, what you guys are struggling with. Like I said, these videos, I'm just gonna post one every day, trying to come up with topics that might help you, resonate with you. This is just my story and what's been working for me. I feel like since I got divorced at 35, I feel like I've got a lot more value to offer. I've been where you were. I felt the lows of feeling like I was going to be alone forever again, or that I was starting over with nothing to look forward to. You know, overweight, didn't think I was ever going to be attractive enough for anybody. But it's stuff that you can definitely learn. It's stuff that it's just your own mindsets that's holding you back. So something to think about. If you're struggling with that, let me know. I can give you some resources that might help you and can help you point you in the right direction. All right, we'll see you next time.